I'm going to call the City Commission meeting of February 7th, 2019 to order, and I'm going to ask the clerk for roll call.
Mayor Weissman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks.
Here.
Commissioner Landman.
Here.
Commissioner Mizrahi.
Here.
Commissioner Narotsky.
Here.
Commissioner Shelley.
Here.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Here.
Mr. Wasson. And Mr. Wolfen. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Eli Borhovich to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Come right up to that microphone. Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the city manager if there are any deletions or additions to the agenda.
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
Okay. Our next item of business are our school reports, and Ellie Borohovich, that just led us in the Pledge of Allegiance, is representing ACES and giving us our update for this evening.
Good evening. My name is Ellie Borohovich, and I am a 7th grade student at ACES. This year, I'm a member of the National Junior Honor Society and serve as a host on our morning announcements. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. Although we have only been back from winter break for less than a month, a lot has happened over the last several weeks. Students in grades 2nd through 5th started attending interest clubs, which they will visit each Friday through the end of the year. This year, students were able to select from over 20 choices, many of which will be featured in our annual talent show in May. Coffee Connection was held last month in our newly renovated media center. Parents were invited to come out to hear about all that is happening at ACES while enjoying coffee and hopefully making new connections, hence the name Coffee Connection. One of our 4th grade teachers presented a mini lesson to parents showing them some of the creative ways students are taught to think outside of the box. Parents were also treated to a beautiful poem written by one of our middle school students, in addition to lots of great information about past and future events. ACES teachers recently had a dynamic day of professional development at their 2nd annual on-campus Spark Conference. Staff members were able to select from 20 conference sessions and 10 Ed Camp sessions at which best practices were taught by ACES staff as well as industry experts. Our character lessons have continued through the Cloud 9 program as part of our Upstander Days. We have spent time learning about compassion and self-control, and this month we are working on building perseverance. Perseverance is defined as the continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. In school, and as well as in life, this will be an important trait for all of us. Students enjoyed several opportunities to learn outside of the classroom during the month of January. 1st grade students went to Jungle Island, 3rd grade students went to their annual beach trip to Surfside, 7th grade students visited the Miami-Dade County Courthouse where they sat in on actual trials and hearings and toured the facilities. Middle school drama and art students went to Epcot, where they had a behind-the-scenes tour and even had an opportunity to perform with Broadway actors. Our digital communications class also had a chance to visit Telemundo, where they were able to see the inner workings of a functioning production studio. As always, ACES has a lot of great things going on, with many more to come. We encourage the community to follow us on Instagram and Facebook to learn more. I appreciate the opportunity to share a few highlights from our school. Thanks again on behalf of ACES, and like we always say, where excellence is the expectation, not the exception. Yeah, ACES. Have a great evening.
Yeah, Ellie. From Aventura Waterways, we have Katrina Bass. You are so welcome. It's a hard act to follow.
Yeah. So like you said, my name is Katerina Bass, representing Aventura Waterways K-8 Center. Currently, I'm an 8th grader there, and I'm the president of the Model UN Club and vice president of our National Junior Honor Society. a lot has happened since winter break has ended. Our 7th graders, they went to their San Francisco field trip in which they learned about different colleges, different historical landmarks they had to offer. Monday, our 8th graders in our International Finance Academy are going to go to the Amazon Distribution Center here in Miami to learn about how it works, since we're learning about business tactics and how distribution works as one of the 4 P's of marketing. So, and the 7th graders, they recently went on a trip to the Biscayne Nature Center where they learned about different fish, aided in alleviating the amount of trash that was there. Our 8th graders are having their annual dance soon, which the student government has been fundraising for a while now. Since November, we have been promoting this dance. And speaking of our 8th graders, we are having our color war, in which the 8th graders get to participate in a week worth of activities. Our art classes get the pleasure of designing their posters. Currently, our Model UN team is preparing for our Miami-Dade conference, in which we have won 5 years consecutively. We are working on our 6th, hopefully, on March 2nd. And we are also working towards our New York conference, in which it's an international conference with thousands of children from all over the world coming into the New York Model UN building, in which we had the honor of winning a multitude of awards last year. Our Heritage Bowl team, in which we have won in Black History Quiz Facts last year, are preparing for their upcoming competition to defend our champion title, as well as our Math Club, which has recently formed, are going to their Miami-Dade competition to attempt to win the award. Our 7th graders are also having a field trip to the FIU STEAM Fair, our science academy in the 7th grade. They're going to learn about how they work with the science there. Also, our 6th and 7th graders, they are going to Animal Kingdom soon, and the orchestra are preparing for their spring concert. Our student government has also been very active. They're working on establishing a student court, which will be put into place next year. And right now they are working on a restaurant fundraiser to help our school obtain more funds for the year, seeing that our funds have been generally low this year. And basically, to end off, National Junior Honor Society has been hard at work with creating fundraiser community service events, such as our Oleta Beach Cleanup, which we have went recently to aid the trash issue in the beach and plant plants. As always, thank you so much for having me here on behalf of Aventura Waterways. I appreciate your time.
Wow. Makes one wonder when you get time to go to class with all of that. From Michael Kropp Senior High School, Ariel Hartsey and Allie Ratner. Allie, is it your first time? Okay.
So hi again, Ariel Hartsey. Olivia Gottlieb couldn't make it, but Allie Ratner is SJA's vice president, so she'll be taking over next year, hopefully. So since we've seen you guys last, we've had a lot of updates, a lot of success. So specifically with our Lightning Battalion and JROTC drill team, at Flanagan High School, they actually brought home 12 different trophies. So 8 of those being first place trophies, 3 of those being second place, and 1 third place. And for the 4th straight field meet, they earned first place for the overall meet and first place in overall athletics. And in 1 month, they're going to states in Tampa, so we'll update you guys about their success there.
So the girls soccer team are district runner-ups, and they advanced to regionals. The boys soccer team are district champions, and they're actually playing tonight for regionals. And at the science fair this year, 5 students qualified for the state science fair, and no high school has had that many students qualify for this event ever. So
yeah, we're really proud of them. And we also have 7 district winners advancing to our state competition for the Future Business Leaders of America. We also have 17 winners in our Scholastic Writing Award contest, 4 winners in the Scholastic Art Award contest. And yeah, that's all for now. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. We also have some other guests not noted on the agenda, but we have a youth advisory panel committee, advisory committee, and there are a number of members here today. So I want to ask you to please come up, state your name and where you go to school for all of us, please. All three of you, absolutely. And if there's anybody else I missed that's on the Youth Advisory Committee.
Well, good evening. My name is Chloe Freitas, and I go to Mass at FIU alongside these girls.
Good evening. My name is Valentina Perez, and as she mentioned, I also go to Mass FIU.
I'm Carolina Wesley, and address 21195 Helmsman Drive, apartment F13, Aventura, Florida 33180.
And where do you go to school?
Mass at FIU.
Okay, great. Commissioner Landman.
They look like they have a paper in their hand and may want to say something.
Yes. On behalf of Tuesday, we were told that we were talking about the anti-vaping, the law. So we wanted to say some few words about it.
Okay. I was going to say you can do it now or you can do it in the public hearing.
The public hearing is
Public hearing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Can I ask them,
Commissioner Weinberg.
when are you going to have an actual school building? Do you know?
Summer of 2020.
I was there for the sign breaking, when we broke ground on a sign saying, here will be your school. But I'm a big fan of having that school on that campus. And some of us were in Tallahassee a couple of weeks ago, and we happened to fly home with Dr. Rosenberg, the president of FIU. And aside from you young ladies and your classmates, no one in the world will be happier than him when there are actual classrooms.
Okay. Going back to our regular agenda, we're now on the consent agenda, and I'm going to ask if any member of the commission would like to remove an item from the consent agenda.
Yes, Mayor, I do apologize, but I believe it's item H is an item that I'd like to pull and have that discussed separately so I could recuse myself at that time. Thank you.
Okay. So could I please ask for a motion for the approval of the remaining items on the consent agenda? Made by Commissioner Landman,
Second?
seconded by Commissioner Weinberg. I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That brings us to the item that was pulled, and I'm going to ask the city attorney. Do I have to excuse you, Commissioner Narotsky, first?
Commissioner Narotsky will leave in the middle of the item where all items on this legislative list will be approved except item 9, which will be separately handled. So he'll be able to stay for the beginning of this item, and then he'll leave for the item 9 on the list of the legislative items. So he could stay for this part. He'll leave after you vote on the
All right, I'm
first
going to
portion.
ask you then to read the item,
Right.
item H
Thank
on
you.
the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, adopting the City of Aventura 2019 legislative program and priorities attached hereto, authorizing the city manager to take necessary action to carry out the aims of this resolution, and providing for an effective date.
Can I have a motion, please, for the approval of this resolution excluding item 9 on the list? Mr. Attorney, can you please tell us what item 9 is?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 9 concerns the condominium statute, and the reason that Commissioner Narotsky will be leaving for that portion of the item is that he, as an attorney and mediator, handles disputes under that particular statute.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of the resolution excluding item 9 on the list of legislative programs and priorities. Made by Commissioner Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Narotsky. Can I ask the clerk? Well, I guess I'm going to open this portion of the item for public comment.
Thank you.
That means anybody who wants to comment on this item. No? Okay. Then I'm going to close this item for public comment and ask if any members of the commission have any questions or comments. Then I'll ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Weisman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Commissioner Narotsky will now leave the meeting for the remainder of this agenda item. Can I please have a motion for the approval of item 9 of the resolution on the list of legislative programs and priorities? Made by Commissioner Shelley. Seconded. Seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to open this portion of item 9 for public comment. And if anyone from the public wishes to come up and address it, we need you to state your name and address. Okay, I'm going to close this item for public comment, and I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has any questions or comments. Commissioner Weinberg.
Thanks, Mayor. Can you ask the attorney to just read that item?
Yes, the item 9 of the legislative list says amend safe harbor provisions of Florida Statute 718-1161B, condos, and Section 720.3085-2C, HOAs, to increase the liability of qualified lending institutions to the lesser of 24 months of past due assessments or 2% of the original mortgage in the event of a foreclosure, plus recovery of reasonable attorney's fees.
Thank you. Commissioner Weinberg?
So, to try to translate that's an item that I had asked to be put on our legislative priorities several years ago. It's not critically important now. It was critically important at the time, and it may become critically important in the future, but that's there to protect condominium owners, of which we are the flag-bearing municipality in the state of Florida. We're all owners living in either an HOA or a condo association, and this is sort of a way to battle back at the power of the banks during a time of foreclosures and defaults, when you have to pay your maintenance and cover your neighbor who is delinquent in their payments, and the banks can take their time taking over the units while you continue to pay your hard-earned money out of it. So it was a way for us as a local government to try to protect our taxpayers and our residents. And so far, we've maintained the status quo. The favored nation status of the banks has not gotten any better, even with all of their powerful lobbyists. So hopefully it will always stay this way. But this is an item that is specific to condominium owners, which means specific to our residents.
And I want to thank Commissioner Weinberg for his efforts in Tallahassee on this over the past 4 years. Anyone else wish to address this? Okay, then I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Mayor Weisman.
Yes,
Commissioner Narotsky is absent. The motion passes.
thank you so much. Will you please tell Commissioner, you can come back. It's really amazing tonight, but tonight we have no zoning hearings and no quasi-judicial public hearings. So that's one of the rare times in our meetings we don't have that, which brings us to item 7, the ordinances and the first reading. I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the ordinance being considered.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Chapter 1, General Provisions of the City Code by creating Section 118, Sale of Nicotine Vaporizers, E-Cigarettes, and Liquid Nicotine to Minors Prohibited, Signage Requirements, Possession by Minors Prohibited, Penalties, and Section 119, Use of Nicotine Vaporizers and Liquid Nicotine Prohibited near city parks and public schools, signage requirements, additional restrictions, penalties, providing for implementation, providing for a repeal, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Can I please have a motion for approval of the ordinance made by Commissioner Shelley, seconded by Vice Mayor Dr. Linda Marks? I'm going to request the city attorney to please review this item.
Thank you, Mayor. This proposed ordinance would be a step in the city's efforts to combat the problems created by the minors and others' use of e-cigarettes and liquid nicotine As you know, this is currently a very big problem where the use of these e-cigarettes and related items leads to tobacco smoking and use of drugs and other problems. This city ordinance has been crafted by taking provisions of state law, the Dade County Code, the City of Miami Beach recent ordinance, and adding some additional provisions to combat the access of minors to dangerous e-cigarettes, also known as nicotine vaporizers and liquid nicotine, to protect those minors from exposure and from dangerous habits. It also has additional restrictions to keep these e-cigarettes and liquid nicotine away from city parks and public schools so that they cannot be used in either facility. And it also provides for a public education program that the city manager is authorized to work on. Additionally, we continue to monitor efforts of the FDA, who are expected in the near future to crack down on these e-cigarettes because of their growing use and the dangers that they pose. So we've worked closely with the city manager's office and the police chief and his department in crafting this ordinance as a step towards combating this serious problem.
Thank you. And if I heard you right, because we took parts from some other municipalities that have been working on the same issue and we've added to it, in your legal opinion, is ours stronger?
Yes, it's stronger because we've added some further provisions to it.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open up this item to public comment, and I'm going to request that members of the public come up to the microphone, state your name and address.
My name is Kaliana Wesley, and I live in 21195 Helmsman Drive, apartment F13, Aventura, Florida 33180. Good evening. My name is Kaliana Wesley, and I am a 9th grader at Mass at FIU. I am here today to say that I'm in full support of this amendment. Constantly, I see people my age smoke from nicotine vaporizers or e-cigarettes. So much so that in 2017, more than 2 million high and middle school students were e-cigarette users, making vapes, Juuls, and other forms of e-cigarettes the most used tobacco products among adolescents, far surpassing traditional combustible cigarettes. People my age don't realize that these electronic cigarettes have any negative impacts, but they do. For starters, vaporizers contain a large amount of nicotine, causing them to be extremely addictive, and it has been proven that vaping as a teen leaves you more susceptible to smoking cigarettes as an adult. Minors also believe that e-cigarettes cause no health problems, but that simply isn't true. It can cause heart disease, lung problems, and can be toxic to a young person's brain and body. These false beliefs are part of why minors do smoke e-cigarettes, and I believe that enforcing laws against them will enlighten adolescents on their negative impacts. Not to mention, these teenage smokers usually smoke during school hours, which disrupts the learning environment and distracts them from their education. Above all, e-cigarettes were released as a means to replace cigarettes and should be considered as their equivalent, meaning that they should both have the same laws and regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina.
Good evening. My name is Chloe Freitas. I'm a 15-year-old student at Mass at FIU. I'm here to just share a quick opinion on this bill. As many of you here know, long-term brain effects of those who smoke e-cigarettes under the age of 18 have been proven to arise, as well as a multitude of short-term risks, such as taking more risks in relation to their health. Now, addiction as well as lowering of impulse control can also occur to those who are young e-cigarette smokers. Anxiety, depression, difficulty concentrating, impaired performance, and increased appetite and weight gain. These are all symptoms of nicotine addiction, which is almost a given for when you are a young smoker. Do these sound like symptoms? Do these sound like things you want for your children, nieces, your nephews, or your young neighbors? Being a teenager is hard enough, trust me. No one in their right mind would want to go through all of these things, but many do not know what happens when they smoke these electronic cigarettes. Knowing all of this, why should we allow kids to have access to these silent killers? I see hundreds of people at my school or around me, even in this city, constantly smoking and ruining not only their educational career, but their lives in general. And it makes me want this to pass even more. Additionally, said cigarettes were never meant for children. They're meant for smokers who are trying to stop smoking. So why should we allow kids my age and even kids that are younger than me to purchase them? These companies are specifically targeting young children because they understand they understand that advertising or using childlike flavors such as cotton candy or donuts will get a child to acquire to want to get an e-cigarette. Children are being inclined to smoke so early on in development, and this has never been an epidemic before. All in all, if we abolish the possibility of children acquiring these electronic cigarettes from the get-go, we'll have a much healthier and prosperous generation. Thank you.
I want to thank you, but I do have a question for you. Do you see people using these devices in your school or on the campus, noting that it is a college campus?
On my campus, no, but I know of a lot of kids that are in CROP, which is the high school, the feeder pattern high school, that use it on or around campus. So, but not personally in mine.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. Anyone else from the public like to address this item, please come up, state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Valentina Paredes. I currently live in 3375 North Country Club Drive, Aventura, Florida, 33180. Good evening. As a student, I hear daily from teachers about the worries on the epidemic use of electronic cigarettes and nicotine addiction among kids. As the daughter of a medical professional that has worked in both Argentina and here, I have been explained of the immense devastation that smoking-related diseases wrought on the lives of patients and their families. One of the biggest challenges our society is facing nowadays is the youth having access to electronic cigarettes. I must present everyone here with a question. How come the purpose of these cigarettes is for adults to stop smoking, but it's causing innumerable teens to smoke when they shouldn't even have access to them? From 2017 to 2018, there was a 78% increase in current e-cigarette use among high school students, and a 48% increase in middle school students. When discussing the topic of vaping among the youth, we tend to get caught up in the statistics, without realizing that each one of these digits represents a child. Since trying to force companies to halt sales of vaping products to keep them away from teens is not an action that could be taken as of now, we must take other measures, such as passing legislation and actively enforcing it, to protect the children of this community. Virtually all smokers start smoking before the age of 21, so it is certain that stopping teen smoking is key to reducing tobacco deaths. Additionally, vaping addiction can lead to decreased academic activity, smoking actual cigarettes, and doing other types of drugs. We must understand that smoking is a personal decision, but we are only harming ourselves. It is imperative to address this topic as a community, and passing this vaping ordinance is definitely the best action we can take. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to address this item? Okay, let me ask if there are any commissioners that would like to. Commissioner Landman.
I just want to thank the three young ladies who took time out of their busy schedules to come and speak up and speak about this important topic. So thank you. You were all very well spoken. You all had facts. You all had great information. Stay connected with us. Come to our meetings. Talk to us. We want to hear from you. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Dr. Linda Marks.
There was a comment made by our first speaker this evening that said it's hard enough to be a teenager today. And I want to tell you that we totally understand, and we know that you face all kinds of pressures. You have pressures to perform in school. You have pressures regarding drugs. You have pressures regarding vaping and everything else. So we, as the city, I would speak for myself here, certainly want to say be strong, but not only be strong, but tell others. Help us in the commission. The more we can talk to others and the more just even changing one life at a time can help that one life. So we want to thank you so much for what you did, and I would expect and hope that the vote tonight would support what it is that you're saying as well.
Any other commissioner wish to talk? Commissioner Weinberg.
I want to, in advance, because I have a pretty good idea based on my intuition, how the vote's going to go. I want to thank my fellow commissioners because this is an item that is important to me. As we heard from our high school students, I have 3 high school students as children, and they are definitely the target of a multi-billion-dollar campaign. And I had asked for this to happen at the commission level, and I asked for this to happen in a prior incarnation of this commission, where these other elected officials, I was up here and they weren't, and I did not get the same level of enthusiasm, and we didn't reach this point. So I want to thank this commission for seeing the light and how important this really is, because it is an epidemic and it's getting worse and it's getting cuter and cuter. I mean, every time you go to Walgreens, the section is larger. The cigarettes are sort of being pushed this way, and all the electronic stuff is taking over. And I think we're going to find at some point that it's much worse than we thought in terms of the effects on your health when you're taking in metals and the other things that are in that vape. So I thank the commission.
Anyone else? Commissioner Mizrahi.
One of you said that you've been hearing from teachers every day that this is really bad. So if they're telling you every day that this is not good, what else can we do to avoid this?
This isn't where we ask them questions. When they were up, if you wanted to address it, but now you're giving your views on it. If you want to wait to the public hearing and they're still here, you certainly can ask that question.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address this? All right, then I'm going to ask the clerk for a vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Weissman.
Absolutely, yes.
Motion passes on first reading.
Okay, item number 8, ordinances, second reading, public hearing. Again, tonight, we have none. We also have no resolutions, so it brings us to reports. Do any members of the commission have anything they wish to report on tonight? Vice Mayor Dr. Linda Marks.
I just want to mention that a very devoted person who comes here to all of our meetings and volunteers, Marge Rosenblatt, is not here this evening because she is celebrating her birthday, and I'm sure that we would all like to wish her a happy birthday, and she's sorry that she can't make it, but she decided to go celebrate.
How nice to share that. Commissioner Landman.
Chief, if possible, maybe if you want to come up and talk about the upcoming Ride with the Aventura Police event.
Mayor, Commission, thank you for having me come up. We have our upcoming Ride with the Police event that we started just over a year ago, and we've had several successful rides. This is a fantastic opportunity for the community to come out with the police department and share time with our officers in the community and ride through the city. And each time that we've done it, it's grown and grown considerably. And I want to thank, I know some of the officers that are here that participate in this event, and I will tell you that a lot of them on their exterior seem gruff and tough, but they enjoy these events more so than doing their regular jobs, interacting with the community. And in fact, they did so again today at a career day at the school, and I want to commend Canine Officer Worthington here for putting on a fantastic demonstration in doing that. So we're thrilled to do it. We love doing the community outreach, and thank you for letting me come up. And if anybody needs any information on it, please contact us, and we'd love to have you come out.
Thank you, Chief Pegues. Commissioner Mizrahi.
Yes, I just want to share with you that We Evolution and Vital Voices of Miami Community is organizing a walk. It's a very unique walk because it's teamed up with professional women that will mentor girls from 17 and older in any topic, whether it's professional, emotional, mindfulness, and it's going to take place on Saturday, March 9th at Casa Armani, and you can register at vitalvoicesmiami.org @gmail.com. We're looking for girls that want to walk with professional women.
Commissioner Shelley.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the time or not, but I believe I speak for the commission. I want to wish condolences to Dr. Marks, our Vice Mayor, on her loss, and our heart and prayers are with you and your family.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I should have mentioned this before when we were doing the consent agenda. This is not an item that I put on the agenda, but I do want to congratulate whichever member of the commission did. I don't recall right now, but I think we should point out that one of the things we did, item J, our resolution condemning the anti-Semitism acts by Airbnb, and we passed a resolution that we're forwarding, and I think it's important that the residents are aware of that. I don't remember, does anyone?
It was made by Commissioner Narotsky, but generally every person on this commission co-authored this.
I think it's just important to point that out. I'm sure most people have seen it on the news. We did not stand on the sideline. We are speaking out against what they've done.
Anyone else on the commission? Okay, then I'm going to open it for public comments, but I'm going to ask the city attorney to review with commission members the purpose of this item.
Thank you very much, Mayor. As a reminder, this portion of the meeting is to receive comments and input from the public. However, it is not for the purpose of responding back to the public or engaging in a dialogue. It is simply to receive input of the comments. If any follow-up action is necessary subsequent to the meeting, that would be handled by the city manager, myself, or others as appropriate. But it's just an important reminder that this is just to listen and hear input, but not to respond or engage in a dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone that wishes to address the commission? Please come up, state your name and address.
First, good evening, my mayor, good evening, my commissioners and citizens of Aventura. My name is Pedro Salas, and I live at Southview. Enough? Okay. A few months ago, I came with questions about our Aventura PD. Thanks to you, I have an interview around a week later with the second in charge at Aventura PD. He promised me two things. One was to give me some answers. He failed. He never, in this time, few months after, talked to me, sent me any kind of text, nothing at all. Second, I showed to him that I have a problem with a sergeant who came to my building for a different thing and said to me words like asshole and...
I understand that, but I really have to say, in this forum, I can't allow you to use that kind of profanity.
Okay, I will say I'm really sorry, but I wanted to show that that's not the way that these people are supposed to talk to us. I'm sorry, really sorry for this. Okay, so this officer promised me to take my driver license from me and to send me to jail. Our second chief, he failed too. The 7th of October of last year, the sergeant with two another officers after I left Aventura Charter, he stopped me and he said that I had a problem on my tag. He said, you have your license suspended for 2 days. He knew that, I didn't know that for sure. So he sent me to jail. I was there 6 hours. After a bail, I could leave. Not enough happy with this sergeant 2 days later, because somebody called the same day to our Miami-Dade inspection for school buses. Two inspectors came, and this sergeant was behind them, 2 meters behind him, with the two other police officers. Close to them, like 50 meters, were another 2 officers. He expected to send me to jail, but that was a nice conversation with the inspectors, and I only had to pay $80 fee for that question on Tuesday. Collateral problems. I had to spend 5 days in Aventura Hospital in rooms with people with mental problems. I'm seeing a psychiatrist. I'm going to see a psychologist. After 12 years of being part like a school vice provider.
Okay, your time is up. I'll let you wrap it
Okay.
up.
After 12 years of working like a provider for parents and children at Aventura Charter School, I had to quit. The good thing, I lost 30 pounds. Thank you. Now, for all these questions...
Really, I have to ask you to wrap it up.
Yes, I just finished. That's why I'm asking for your intervention. We are an excellent city, and we do not deserve this kind. I'm really sure that our policemen are right people, but we do not deserve this gang. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, and I will have the city manager reach out to you during the week.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to please come up, state your name and address?
My name is Ivana Amato. I live at the Atrium at 188th Street. Good evening. Good evening. Dear Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, when someone drives into Aventura, what is very noticeable is the beautiful landscaping we have throughout the city. Thank you. At some of our commissioner workshops, there has been much discussion about the city's landscape with regard to maintenance and aesthetics. But part of the city's landscape is our sidewalks and walkways along the harbors. For the past several months, I have noticed a discernible increase on the dog waste left behind on the sidewalk, walkways, and grassy area adjacent to buildings and sidewalks, and in particular the areas along the marina walkways on Northeast 188th Street. In particular, next to the children's playground at Peace Park. Even though many of the building managers on 108th Street have their maintenance staff picking up dog feces every day, but it seems like that is not enough. I know the city of Aventura has a pooper scooper ordinance that fines individuals that fail to obey the law $100. It seems like this is also not enough. In the town of Hempstead, New York, where I once resided, the infraction for not picking up after a dog is $250. The procedure for reporting these violations is to take a picture of the resident and the dog and to send it to the person's address. And by the way, even in our block on 188th Street, the building managers even know who the people are, but you see them every day and you know who they are. And the town would send, they would send the picture and the person's address to the town, and the town would then send a warning letter to the violator. The majority of the time, the situation would be resolved. If the violator persists on the negative behavior, a $250 fine was given to that person. Now, the question to all of you is, does the Aventura have a procedure to report violators to the city about the people who break this pooper scooper ordinance? Would you consider increasing the fines, and would you consider adding a sign stating the fines on the posts that have the bags on the scoopers? I mean, just having those signs, I think, would help tremendously so people know there are fines. Just a question. I know you may not be able to answer it tonight, but it's something to consider, maybe, for the future. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. And the city manager will be getting back in touch with you to get the details within the next couple of days. Okay. Come on up. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't matter to me who goes. Come, please. Just state your names and address.
I want to say hello to everyone. I know almost every one of you. You've been my neighbors. But we're here to thank you.
Please state your name and address. I need your name and address.
I know. Well, I'm Jeannie Stoffman. I'm 3630 Yacht Club Drive in Aventura.
Vivian Shapiro, One Island Place, 1004.
Leah Kirsten, Harborside, 3640 Yacht Club Drive, apartment 203, Aventura.
Thank you.
We just wanted to thank the commissions. We want to thank Ronald Watson, Joseph Kroll, Joanne Carr. We have to thank you. We are doing the landscaping at the Waterways Marina. We are 98% finished. We started last April. There were 5 of us that started it, and we're the 3 that are now doing the finishing work. Leah has been out on the marina every single day at 7:30 in the morning to greet Luke as he comes in. I can tell you that she can tell you every plant, every leaf, how far it is from one another, and we thank you so much. And we want to thank you for really allowing us to do this and to sticking with us, and we thought it would be a good time. And we're enjoying the meeting. We're going to come every month because we like it. So thank you very much.
Thank you all.
We thank you. We thank you for your work on that, and the marina certainly needed it. So thank you so very much. Do I have anybody else? Come on, Carolina.
Please come every month, ladies. You see, it's not that hard to get a front row seat.
Do you say my name and address again, or?
Yeah, just say it. No address, just your name.
Okay, Carolina Wesley. And as a means to respond to Commissioner Ms. Rahi's question, I think that passing this law is already a big step enough, but also possibly, if it's possible, I don't know if it's possible, but maybe increasing the price of these cigarettes, because as I know, like, a lot of people, they buy with their parents' money, like they steal from their parents to buy these cigarettes, and I think it's harder, like, for them to do this if the price would be a bit more expensive, and just possibly a good solution. And thank you.
Thank you. And come on up. And as you think about it, you know, we all have email. You can write any of your suggestions to Commissioner Mizrahi or any of us. We're very open to this, and as I've said to you before, we want to hear your voices. You guys are the future.
Thank you again. I'm Chloe Freitas, and again, in relation to the question, I believe that, as Carolina just said, that this ordinance that was passed will help a lot, but I know in our school we had one kind of presentation. It was a very short 10-minute presentation, and yes, it gave facts, but I don't really think that it accurately kind of displayed what is actually happening, the actual symptoms, because as I said, I know a lot of the people in this city don't know the health effects and what happens. They think, oh, well, it tastes like bubble gum, it doesn't have any effects, you know what I mean? It tastes like mango and all these different things. So I think that going into schools, and not just focusing on high schools, middle schools as well, because it's starting at a very, very early age, and you know, you might not think that 6th grade and 7th graders are doing this, but sadly this is occurring. So I think that focusing on middle school as well as high school, and just informing them of the health risks, as well as well, I don't think we need to focus that much on smoking. Well, obviously we do, but not as much as the electronic cigarettes. So I think that the health risks, and that stressing that this ordinance was now passed, to explain to them that it's not, that you're not legally allowed to be doing these things, I think that would help a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Just amazing young people. Anybody else from the public want to address us? Come on.
My name is Valentina Paredes. So just adding to what my friend said, Carolina and Chloe, we do have presentations mostly every month through the program. It's called HIP, the Health Informational Project, and they do educate us on the issue that's going on. I believe that it does provide good information, and we should continue doing this, but the best solution that we can take right now is passing this ordinance, because education, it's obviously really important, but getting a legislative part in the issue is crucial as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And you know it was passed unanimously. Anybody else? Okay. If there's no other comments and no other business, then I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting, made by Commissioner Naratsky, seconded by Commissioner Lamont. But I really want to thank everyone that came out tonight. Our kids from the Youth Advisory Committee, just outstanding. Our reports from the schools, again, outstanding. You're the best part of our meetings, and I will invite all of you to come back again. The more involved you are in the city, the better our city becomes. Thank you so much, and good night.